Okay, welcome back. And our sugar and butter have been creamed. You can see it's a very creamy texture, right? Like this, looks creamy. It's perfect when it's creamy. If you are doing it by hand with a wooden spoon, it's a little difficult and it takes some time. But if you have an electric mixer, it goes very quickly. Today we're doing it by hand, so it takes a little time. Now it's perfect. The next thing that we need to do after we cream together the butter and the sugar, beat in the eggs one at a time. Now our recipe has 2 eggs, okay? And I have 2 eggs. I'm going to crack the eggs directly into the bowl, like this. 1. 2. Try not to get any shell inside your bowl. Now it says to beat the eggs. I'm going to use this wooden spoon. I'm just going to mash the yolks a little, and then I'm going to start stirring to get the eggs to mix with the butter and sugar. If you have an electric mixer, it's much faster and easier. But you can do it by hand using a nice wooden spoon like this. We just have to put a little bit of effort and a little bit of muscle into the mixing in order to make it come out nice and smooth. So just keep mixing until all of the egg is blended in with the butter and sugar. Okay, so just keep going. Starting to look very nice. It's getting nice and mixed in, and it's starting to look much creamier than before. It still needs a little more mixing. Okay, look at that. That looks nice and creamy. And I don't see any more egg in the bowl. All of the egg is blended with the butter and sugar. So I think now we're ready for the next step. So let's look at the next step. After we beat in the eggs, we should stir in vanilla. So for our vanilla, we need 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons. And I'll show you, I have some mixing spoons here. Sorry, not mixing spoons, some measuring spoons. And which one do you think is a teaspoon? Now I know in Japan, a teaspoon is a very small spoon for stirring tea or coffee. So it's going to be a little bigger than a Japanese actual teaspoon. So it's not this one, not this one. This one is a tablespoon, and this one is a teaspoon. So if it's 5 milliliters, it's perfect, okay? So we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, I'll get my teaspoon, and I have some vanilla essence, and I'm just going to, oops, it's not coming out. There we go. Just gonna fill up this spoon 2 times. Yeah, American people love vanilla, so we put a lot of vanilla in our cakes and cookies. So this is 1 teaspoon. Okay, do one more. One of my Japanese friends told me American recipes have a lot of vanilla, more than Japanese recipes. There's 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, so we have to stir in the vanilla. Stir in. So that means we have to mix this again. You want to get the vanilla mixed in. Oh, that smells so good. You guys, I'm wearing a mask, but I can still smell the vanilla. It smells so sweet. Wow. What a delicious smell. And look how nice and creamy this is. This is perfect. Okay. So next, what are we going to put in next? What do you think?
Chocolate chips.
No, not chocolate chips. No. The next thing we need to do is put flour, baking soda, and salt together in another bowl. Oh, I need another bowl.
You want a smaller one?
Okay. So let's set this to the side for a moment. Get another bowl. Here we go. And we're going to need the scale again. So let's set the scale. Turn it on. Put our bowl here and set that to 0. Okay. So how much flour do we need? 1 3/4 cups or 262 grams. So let's put 262 grams of flour. Okay, here we have, this is about 100, 150, 185, 200, 233. Oh no, too much. Okay, let's take some back out. We want 262, so we have to remove a little bit, but a little bit too much. 275, 267, 265. Perfect, 262. Okay. Now that we have our flour, the next thing we need is 1 teaspoon of baking soda. What is baking soda? What do you think baking soda is? It's a quiz. Baking soda is this. Okay, and we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So, do you remember which spoon is the teaspoon? It's the 5 milliliter spoon is the teaspoon, and we need 1 teaspoon. So let's fill this up. Is that about even? That looks like it's 1. Okay, 1 teaspoon. Okay. Now, if we were going to put salt in the recipe, this is the time when we would put the salt. But our butter already has salt, so we will not put salt in today. Now, let's give this a stir. Mix the flour and the baking soda together. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be roughly mixed together. And maybe this is good. Okay. What do we do next? So, no chocolate chips, not yet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to stir this flour into this creamed butter and sugar mixture. So we come back to the nice big bowl and we're going to mix a little of this in a few different parts. So we don't want to put all of it, we want to put just a little. Put a little, okay? And then stir it in. Give this a nice stir. After all of this flour has disappeared, let's see, does that look good? That looks pretty good, okay? So now let's put a little more flour, okay? And stir it in until we can't see the flour anymore. You can see that it takes a lot of hand mixing. This is called hand mixing. When you use a spoon in your hands to make cookies and cakes. When I was a child, we didn't have a mixer. So my mother made all of the cookies and cakes by hand. And it takes a lot of mixing and a lot of energy. So my sister and brother and I used to take turns mixing for my mother because she would get tired after mixing a lot. This looks very nice. And let's put a little more flour. Okay. Mix this in. Now it's starting to feel very fluffy. Before it was very creamy and heavy, but now it's becoming fluffy because of the flour. Ooh, my arm is getting tired. Ooh, goodness. It takes a lot of energy and muscles to make cookies by hand. So you have to be strong. If you're not strong, then you're going to build your muscles doing this. This is a good kind of way to work out instead of, yes, it's called the cookie workout. My new exercise, making cookies. But I'm just going to have one strong right arm. Oh, this is looking really good. So the flour is already mostly incorporated. Let's give it a quick check. So how do we know if we got all the flour? So we have to check because sometimes flour is stuck on the sides. So you should get one of these plastic spatulas and start scraping the sides of the bowl and checking along the edge to make sure there's no hidden flour. See, sometimes there's flour hiding in the bottom. So we have to get the flour and mix it really well. Okay, and then we're going to check, make sure there's no flour hiding on the bottom. Scrape the sides. This is starting to look really good. Ooh, very thick and creamy. Still not done. Just gonna scrape the bottom and have a look. Wow, look at that. So creamy. Looks good?